ఓం శ్రీ గురుభ్యో నమః. అందరికీ నమస్కారం. See, a stone on the path can either be a stopping stone hindering your way on the path, or it can be a stepping stone helping you to go higher on the path. So, the same stone, it depends on how you use it. So, Gautama Buddha has defined the truth as that which works. It is a very strange definition, but immensely profound. You see, it is not a question whether something is a lie or not. It is a question whether the lie is pointing out towards the truth or not. The direction of the arrow of life is very important. For a seeker on the spiritual path, the lie which is pointing out towards the truth is as valuable as truth itself. You see, in the general material world, it is full of dominion of facts. The world is a dominion of facts. So, suppose you are young today. It is a fact. You are young today, it's a fact. Tomorrow you may be old. That is also a fact. So, the fact is bound to change in the world. But the masters and gurus, they deal and they speak about the transcendental world. Here you have to understand between the fact and truth. As already said, the fact is, it belongs to the material world and it is bound to change. But the truth belongs to transcendental world and it remains the same all the time. So, as far as the transcendental world is concerned, as far as the ultimate reality or truth is concerned, it has to be conveyed only otherwise, because as it cannot be contained in words. See, the expression of reality is so huge and so luminous, it cannot be contained in words for communication. See, the humanity knows only one kind of communication, that is language and words. But the truth, the ultimate truth, cannot be conveyed in any language or in any communication of words, as it is so huge. So that's why the masters, the gurus, out of immense love and compassion, they want to share their experience of ultimate reality, but it is beyond the understanding of the disciples or seekers. So they adopted various methods and devices. Every master has got his own method and device to communicate the ultimate reality to the disciples. So they have encouraged the disciples, they have inspired the disciples to tread the path of truth and ultimate reality whenever they evince any kind of interest in any manner on the spiritual path. So Lao Tzu is a very famous sage. He has realized the ultimate reality, but he could not convey in any words of communication. He has not written any book. All through he was silent only. So the people have requested him, we know you are pregnant, I mean your womb is pregnant with the truth and ultimate reality, because we feel that luminosity, that joy, that peace, that coolness in your presence. So please try to share your experience of ultimate reality with us. Even the emperor has summoned him and requested him to share his ultimate experience of reality and truth, so that many people who were lurking in the darkness gets some kind of guidance and hope to continue their journey on the path. But Lao Tzu said, I have been crying and weeping in the darkness of the nights to give me that strength, that capability to share what I have experienced as far as the truth is concerned. But my being has become so luminous. In fact, it is whenever that thought comes, the being becomes very vast with luminosity, which I cannot myself contain in any words. I have been crying and weeping for my inability to share that the experience of ultimate reality. But still some disciples have followed him till the end, and when they were in the presence of that master, they used to only enjoy his silence, and his silence, the master's silence, and being in their presence, being in the presence of the master, the silence of the master has become a sermon to them. They could hear that music of silence. They could hear his sermons in that silence. See, that is the love of the master towards his disciples. So, Lao Tzu, he was a great sage and a great master and mystic. So, the point here is the masters on the spiritual path have innumerable devices and methods to encourage and inspire the disciples to tread on the path of the truth. So, in the course of adoption of their various devices and methods, out of immense love and affection to guide the disciples in a proper way, they sometimes used to lure the disciples to their own ambitions, desires for which they are aspiring for unconsciously, because once they are on the path and once they are lured to fulfill their that invisible and hidden desires or aspirations, for maybe for recognition, maybe for wealth, maybe for something else which is temporary and which belongs to the world. Still, the masters encouraged them to tread the path, because when they are on the path in the journey, they realize themselves what are the things to be carried forward and what are the things they are aspiring for, and what is the ultimate utility of fulfillment of such desires and aspirations. When compared to the attainment of the realization of the ultimate reality. See, there was a village and there was a father with 4 little children. So once the father went out of the village, when he was out of the village, his house in the village catches fire and starts burning. So all villagers have assembled and shouted at the children who were playing inside the house to come out, as the house got indulged in burning. But the children who were playing with the toys inside the house and the children who have not seen the fire and flames, they were enjoying that fire and that flames engulfing their house and refused to come out of the house. So the matters being at this stage, the father has arrived into the village and informed by the villagers, he went to the house and saw that it has been burning. So he went to a window near the house where the children were playing inside and addressed them like this: "Children, my dear children, I have brought all the toys which you asked for. Please come out. I will bring many more toys for you. Please come out." After hearing this, they all jumped out of the window and inquired the father about the toys which he brought. Then the father told them that he has not brought any toys, and he told them a lie, as the house is burning and they will be causing injuries to themselves if they do not come out of the house. In their own interest, in their own interest of life, I have told a lie, and please forgive me. I will give you all the toys which you desired. So, here the immense love and affection of the father towards his children need to be understood in the lie which he has told to his children. So, the immense love and affection of the master sometimes results like this when the seekers or disciples are engaged in mundane activities or of life. It is necessary for the master to guide them properly on the spiritual path to realize their own potential of ultimate reality and truth. So, Edward Hillary, he was climbing the Mount Everest. So, he started his journey with 30 followers and with all luggage of food, material, water, tents, etc. But these are all necessary to start the climbing of the mountains. So, they all brought all that luggage and he started his journey of climbing. Then, when he was a few feet away from the peak of the Mount Everest, he dropped one by one, and all the followers also dropped themselves in the middle, and he lastly, when he was a few feet away from the peak of the mountains and a few feet away from the Mount Everest, he dropped even his coat, as even breathing has become very difficult, as the air was very thin at that peak of the mountains. So, finally, when he reached the Mount Everest, he was all alone, without any kind of belongings. And you see, that was the climax of the reality and realization of the truth. So, when the master, out of his love, immense love towards the disciple, he helps him initially to collect all the baggage, as it was very useful in the beginning. So he advises him, the disciple, to collect all the knowledge and all other things, whatever the disciple was aspiring for or desiring for, and he allows him to collect all those luggage and baggage. But when the disciple starts the journey and treading the higher dimensions of the path, the disciple himself realizes the futility of those belongings which at one time were thought to be necessary and valuable. He himself realizes that they become the obstacles and hindrances to tread the higher dimensions, and thus drops one by one as he moves higher and higher. So that is the mercy, compassion and love of the Master towards his disciples. So the whatever we gather, whatever we aspire for, everything will be found to be very attractive and valuable, and it is felt that it has to be achieved and all that in the beginning only. But once you start the journey and start moving upwards, then the seeker, the true seeker, drops the same baggage which he was carrying one by one on his own. That is the ultimate reality and mercy of the Master. So, thank you.